Now this is a backdrop that clearly states I'm driving an SUV today, and is that surprising? We are in India. Every other thing is an SUV, and in fact today what I have is not one but two SUVs, the new Skoda Karoq and the Jeep Compass. And before you think what an odd comparison, let me tell you, these both share a lot in common. For one, they both have a turbo-petrol engine under the bonnet. Second, they both have a 7-speed automatic gearbox. And third, they both are front-wheel drive only. So even though this setting is for an off-roader, these two are not that. The Skoda Karoq is a CBU and is available in only one style variant. There is enough on offer though. For starters, it looks like a plush and expensive SUV. The front end is in line with the bigger Kodiaq with its sharp lines and angular theme. And then you have the overall design, which is premium and very European. The intricate LED headlamps, the sharp creases on the body and the overall subtlety is what makes it appealing. The Compass in its petrol auto tune is often overshadowed by its four-wheel drive diesel guzzling variants, but against the Karoq, it stands a strong chance. For those who like the tough and rugged design of an SUV, the Compass is perfect. Now step inside the Karoq and it is like stepping inside a shrunken Kodiaq. The interior is exactly the same, and that's a great thing because everything you touch and feel is premium and plush. The 8-inch touchscreen is slick and responsive and also is a lot more vibrant. The buttons and switches too feel tactile and built to last. Then you have this fully digital instrument cluster, configurable to whatever you want. You can change the dials and stuff like that. Very upmarket as well. Lastly, you have the cabin itself that is nice and wide. It's also very airy thanks to this cream upholstery and a massive panoramic sunroof. Now I know the Jeep gets a lot of this. It does get this lighter shade of interior. It does get a panoramic sunroof, but what it doesn't get is this nice European feel, this premium and upmarket touch worthy of that 20 lakh plus SUV. Now the interior of the Compass is much like its exterior. It's all very tough and rugged. You have this chunky steering wheel, you have this nice soft touch plastic for the dash, then you have the analog dials that go well with the overall theme. But it's not like you miss out on a lot of features. You get a touchscreen with Apple CarPlay, you get memory seats, electric seat for the driver, of course the panoramic sunroof. The only thing missing is the finesse from that Karoq, that European quality and that European suave and sleek nature. But I don't think that's what you want. When you choose a Compass, you want this tough and rugged feel, and that it delivers very well. Get in the backseat of the Karoq and you will appreciate the space here. It is comfortable and has good leg room with a good amount of foot space under the front seats and plenty of headroom as well. What also helps uplift the cabin is that panoramic sunroof and the light shade for the upholstery. The Compass too has an impressive rear seat. The cushioning might not be as soft, but there is enough space on offer for 3 adults. Now these are SUVs that owners love to drive themselves. So apart from the features and space, what are they like to drive? Now get driving the Karoq and what you immediately appreciate is the bump in refinement. The engine is silent, the cabin is quiet, and it just makes your drive overall that much more comfortable. What's also great is the performance. I know it's 12 horsepower less than the Compass, but it makes up for it with this super fast 7-speed DSG gearbox. You also have these paddle shifters that work really well and are very responsive if you want to do the gear shifts by yourselves. Then you have this sport mode for the gearbox, which just sharpens up the response and makes the Karoq that much more engaging to drive. You also have drive modes on offer that change the engine characteristics significantly. What's also impressive is the ride quality. You see, Skoda has tuned the suspension to a more softer setup, which means bad bumps and broken roads are tackled with ease. You also have these 17-inch wheels as opposed to the 18 inches on the Jeep that give it that much of a supple ride. So for those who enjoy being in the backseat and plan to be chauffeured around, the Karoq will suit you just fine. What is also really impressive is the handling. This is where that MQB platform really comes into its own. You see, the Karoq never really feels like an SUV that you're lugging around. It feels very car-like in corners. The chassis is nice and balanced. There is very little of that understeer. Yes, the suspension is on a softer side, but there is very little body roll, and stability, especially on the highways, is excellent. So what about the Compass? Is it all show and no go? Now powering the Compass is a 1.4 litre turbo petrol engine making 160 bhp. Now there's just a 12 bhp bump from the Karoq, but it is something that is definitely noticeable, especially after the needle crosses 2500 RPM. You see the turbo kicks in, you get that nice surge as you accelerate out of corners, and it's just that much more engaging to drive. The refinement, however, isn't as impressive as the Karoq. You still hear some engine drone inside the cabin, and the DCT gearbox just isn't as responsive in the city. Now, given its SUV credentials, you'd expect the Compass to ride well, and it does. You see, even with these bigger 18-inch wheels, it does have a hint of firmness, but overall, going over bumps, you'd be so much more comfortable in this than you would in the Karoq. It is just that SUV nature it has, that rugged, tough suspension. It just is unbeatable on a bad road, and we do have some pretty bad roads. The Compass then, even in this non-SUV-ish two-wheel drive petrol auto mode, is just as rugged and tough. Now, you'd expect the Compass to have the handling of a heavy rugged SUV, and I thought so too, but it is surprising to say the least. Steering for one is an absolute gem. This really is one of the best steerings in the business. What looked like an easy day at work was quite the challenge, as both these SUVs are a lot closer than you would think. What a day it has been. You know, at the beginning, I genuinely thought the Karoq would win this easy. It is sophisticated, it's luxurious, it's got that long list of features, it rides well, handles well. So it was really a tough ask for the Compass, but it is not too far behind. You see, the Jeep Compass also gets an equally long list of features. It also rides well, and thanks to that extra bit of power, it is fun to drive as well. So it all boils down to personal preference. If you want your SUV to have that tough and rugged look and still be city friendly, the Compass Petrol Auto is the one for you. But if you want luxury and sophistication in your SUV and don't mind paying that extra premium, then the Karoq is what you should go for.